This is a new season, a new time, and we are appreciative to be here, and I just cannot wait to see what 2020 holds for all of us. I think we're all going to new heights, so keep your eye out for Design Tea Live because I'll be sharing it every step of the way. So let's get into this week's hot tea. I'm so thankful. Color is back. Color is back. If you look at Instagram, which I'm sure if you watch Design Tea Live, you know what Instagram is because only forward-thinking people are watching Design Tea Live. You know that we like white, crisp, clean backgrounds. And for the longest time, gray has been the color that has been stealing the show. It's the color that everybody said I want when I first talked to them. But color's on the rebound. Check out your magazines and what have you. You'll see that bold punches of color are now being shown. Don't get me wrong, I like a place to rest my eye. I think it's very necessary in interior design. But color in space gives you the opportunity to show your own personality. It gives you the opportunity to create a mood for a space before you even enter it. So that was my hot tea for the week. Color is back. Now, let's go on into my top 10 interior design trends for 2020. So if you're going to hire me to be your designer, these are part trends that I personally will be influencing into my clients' homes and part trends that I've seen being used by other designers in like the top trades and what have you. By trades, I mean like design magazines. That's what top trades means. All right, so the first one is one of my favorite that I've always used, but now it's becoming a big thing, and that is to wallpaper your ceilings. So if you see this image on the screen, it is otherwise a pretty nice space, but it's not dramatic in any way. But by using a phenomenal light fixture, which we're all about the lighting here, and a fantastic dramatic wall covering on the ceiling, it totally changes the look of this space. So this designer was on point when he or she did this. I think we got this from offline, so I'm not sure. So a lot of these images that come from offline are not mine, and I don't want anyone to think I'm taking credit for it. So, but this designer knocked it out of the park with this beautiful, almost herringbone design wallpaper on the ceiling. Phenomenal. And like I said earlier, color is back. This is like such a great, I could just curl up on the sofa and just take in all the blues, the purples, the golds, the teals, and the golds. Did I say gold? And the golds, and the golds. I love it. Look at the lamps, how they stand off of that like almost lavender wall. Then the art has this deep, deep navy color surrounded by a little bit of purple and a little bit of teal. And we just went all in on the color here. It's just like, oh my gosh, it's just like soak up the color. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. So whatever your color is, doesn't have to be purple or teal or blue, whatever your color is, this is a great opportunity to show personality, to show space, to show warmth. Because with all the cold whites and grays that we've been experiencing over the past several years, it's time for some warmth. It's time to jazz things up a little bit and be creative and show who you are. So 2020 is about being you. It's about nurturing you. And it's about being true to one's own self. Okay? So number 3, rich fabrics, leathers, mohairs, suedes, a lot of natural fibers going on here. But I'll tell you one thing. You can achieve many of these looks, especially the leather, not so much on the mohair, because mohair is kind of a short weave. It's stubby and it's very coarse. Some people think it's rough, but it wears like nobody's business. You never have to replace it. Suede can be temperamental, and I love it, mainly in boots, but suede is temperamental. One thing I'll say, that with, sorry, client's texting me, that with leather and sometimes suede, like you could do like microfiber with suede, and that is a good way to do a suede in a way that the look of suede in a way that it will be resistant and hold up. And I have a lot of people who like to do it when they have kids, because you can literally like take a wet rag and get anything off of microfiber. So that's one thing to keep in mind as a substitute for suede, is the microfiber. It is not the same thing. It doesn't look like the same thing, but it will give slightly the same feel. What I like is I like to do a good faux leather. So a good faux leather, here's an example. I'm going to move my chair out of the way. So an example of a good faux leather is one that is soft. One that is soft, it won't crack, and therefore you won't get that peeling that sometimes you see in like a cheaper, and I mean not inexpensive, but a cheap version of a faux leather. It is hard and it will crack. But this is so soft, I can wad it up, and that means when you sit on it, it's not going to start to get impressions on it, and then eventually you have a seam, and then eventually a crack. So if you're going to use a substitute for leathers, then a great one will be soft and pliable. This is actually a little remnant from a bench that we have in our showroom that we covered in, and so I wanted to show you this. It's like a gold color. It's still a neutral, but it has a shine to it. So that will be a real stunning piece to add to any decor. All right. So number 4 is unclutter and balance spaces are my number 4 choice for this year's trends. One of the things, and I want to be as gentle as possible when I say this, get rid of the junk. Get rid of it. It is not helping you. It is hurting you. It's cluttering up your mind. You can't have a good, clear thought because you have too much crap around. In this 2020, let's renew ourselves to clean up our spaces. Let's have some discipline in all areas of our lives, and that includes in our interiors. As a matter of fact, it should start in our interiors, because that is what motivates us to go into the rest of the world. Okay? I'll come off my soapbook to move on to number 5. Okay? Number 5 is create conversational spaces. These are spaces that allows us to see each other's faces as we are communicating. So that can be hard to do when you're sitting side by side with somebody or at like a 45-degree angle. So we want to sit as much as possible directly across from who we're talking to. And my top 5 for 2020 is to create spaces where we're having more interactions with each other. We'll be able to look each other in the eye and spend time with one another, and really spend time with each other, taking each other in and looking at each other. So face-to-face interactions in those groupings is essential. Number 6 is self-investment. So that covers a gamut of things in your entire life. But self-investment is all about lifestyle. And when I think of lifestyle, at the top of my list for lifestyle is homes. It's interior design. It's how we live in our spaces. I'm going to talk about that a lot going forward, because I really want to be honest with you all. A lot of the problems that ail us are in our homes, and we are the ones who manifest it every day by not changing how we live our lives, by not changing the things that are important to us in our homes. So I want you to be true to yourselves. I want you to be more inward and not worry so much about impressing the others on the outside, but handling what matters at home for you and your family, and getting it organized, getting the things that matter to you in your kitchen front and center, so in the morning you're able to get those things and get out instead of having to dig through drawers and look for them. I was talking to you one day, couple months ago, right before we started into the holiday season, about how important it is for me to have my bathroom function well for me because that determines how quickly I get out of the house in the morning. I have to have things that are necessary for me to get dressed kind of laid out so that it takes a lot. So they say it takes a village to raise a child, or it takes a lot for me to get ready in the morning. And especially when I'm going to show up on camera before you all. So let's get organized and get those things in place that we need on a day-to-day basis. Okay? So number 7 on design is East Asian motifs. And that covers a lot of the fabrics and art and like some of the home decor that you see that is we use quite a bit in our culture is shinori, and then the Japanese fabrics, and we have some examples of those. They are a good take on not only on chinoiserie, but also it is minimalist. So it's not the East Asian fabrics that have like a lot of design going on with lots of florals and all of that. This is new. This is like a new style of East Asian fabrics. It is clean, it is modern, it is simple, but yet the architecture is undeniable. You cannot miss it. I love this fabric. So here's one piece. I have several, and when they came in, we started getting them in probably 6 months ago when the new fabrics for this year started coming in. And I just have been like salivating over these fabrics and deciding like I need to do a window treatment in my house. I need one in my dining room and I need one in my foyer. And I need to decide what I'm going to do. So one of these fabrics is definitely going to make its way into my house. I love these. So these have all been kind of like clean. Let me go back. So I love how they have taken like the animal influence and brought this into here. I like horses anyway. Horses to me symbolize like strength and grace. And I have a horse in my family room that I keep, just, not because, I have like a horse theme, but to me it's art. And art should be symbolic of the things that you find interesting. And I find horses very, very interesting. So, and then on these fabrics, the embroidery work is just exquisite. And they're not really expensive. So here is one that has like some gestures on it, and it's more of the traditional one that you're used to seeing in chinoiserie. So that one, but it's in pink and some earthy colors, some gray for those of you who are still hanging on the gray, a little bit of that here, a little bit of that here. So that will be great for that one. And then, okay, so this one is just like ba, 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 boom to me. It's like some hot pink, some blue. Somebody has named blue as the color of the year. And the color of the year can be confusing because I had a client ask me one time, like, I heard that this was a color of the year, and then this is a color of the year, and then this is a color of the year. So the bottom line is this. All of the major paint companies will put out their own color of the year. So one company can be classic blue. Like we had classic blue on our social media on Instagram as a color of the year last week or earlier this week. I can't remember which day it was, but that is, if it's Sherwin-Williams color, Benjamin Moore will have their own color of the year. And then the other commercial paint companies will have their own colors of the year also. So just know that, okay? So, but this East Asian fabric right here, I'm totally living for this hot pink in this architecture. I mean, it is, if it wouldn't age me, I would say it's the bomb. It's the bomb, y'all. All right. So strong patterns is another thing that I'm living for in 2020. Strong patterns. Since color's back, I want to, of course, in design, you want to balance out the color and the pattern, and you have to always keep in mind what balance is. And we always want to give the eye a place to rest. But this is leftover from drapery I did for my living room at home. And I only tell y'all that because I want you to know, like, give you a chance to see kind of like how I live. And so nothing better than luxurious fabric. I just got to tell you, there's nothing better. See, let's look. Oh. I love fabric. I love it. Textiles. All right, so notice this print. So this one has some indigo. It has gold. It looks like it's like almost black, but really it is indigo. And it has gold, and it has like some copper colors, and then it has some hot pink colors, and then it has a mixture of all those woven together. And the way it looks hanging on my panels, one day I'm going to do, because I'm going to do a series on our new design kiosk here in the shop that's mainly geared towards people who live local in Richmond. But we have a kiosk that will allow people to come in and make a lot of selections. And as I'm showing off how that's going to work, I'm going to do some work at my own house. So if you want to see like what I'm doing at home, then you keep tuning in and you'll see what will happen when I redo my living room using the kiosk that we have here. So love, 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 love these colors. And I love how it is a modern design, but it's not overwhelming, because after doing design and patterns and strong colors and all that all day long, when I go home, I really need like a softer approach to unwind and relax. So I'm not overly stimulated. That way, when I come back to work to bring you guys all the while the next day, I have a fresh mind to do so. My palette's clean. It's called cleansing my palette. Okay? All right. Number 9 is art and accessories. So what I want you all to get a hang of, excuse me. So rather than doing a billion tiny little pieces, let's do a few more substantial pieces that actually get seen, that actually become art in your home, that actually are not a waste of money, quite frankly. When you buy a ton of little things, and that's one of the things that I always try and get my clients who are a little bit more on the conservative side to understand that all those little things, they may cost you an arm and a leg, but one big piece that actually gets seen is a better value. So let's get away from doing so many little things, and then we'll layer a little bit more, meaning we have some larger pieces, and then we do a couple of not so large pieces just to balance things out. Okay? All for good measure. Alrighty? Alrighty, number 10. Probably one of my favorite things in the world. I am a new plant owner. Somebody gave me a Christmas plant for Christmas, and it is a succulent, and it's a client of mine gave it to me, and she's also a friend. Hi, Jean. And I love the plant because it's supposed to be easy for me to take care of. So we will see. Hopefully I'll keep it alive. But adding plants to your environment does a world of good for your mental health, for your physical health, just because not only are they beautiful, but they put oxygen into the air, and it helps us to live better, think better, breathe better, and it absorbs odors in the home. So that is a major thing, other than the beauty, to have plants in the house. I think on my schedule I have planned to do a plant show where I show you all of my plants. Now, I used to be very kind of upset because I didn't think I was good with plants. And my mom was phenomenal with plants. She could grow anything. And I thought that when I was younger, I thought that, I'm going to start growing plants in my house and they'll just grow. And then I started trying to do it, and I was killing all of my plants. But I've gotten better over the past I've been at this for about 2 years now. So I've gotten better. I've been educating myself on which ones work best for me. And I'll tell you, like, since I don't have little kids to work, to spend my time working for and on, plants kind of have replaced that need to take care of something, someone in my life. They grow, I can see them change and what have you. So I enjoy taking care of my plants. And many of them, I'm trying to learn the scientific names for them because I don't know all the scientific names, but I do know the common names for them. And I love my plant babies. So number 10 is incorporating living plants into your interiors. Let's move on, guys. That was 2020 trends that we'll be working on and incorporating in our interior designs here at Wilson Lee. Now we're on to nailed it or failed it. Now, clearly this is a nailed it. This is nailed it. I just see sunshine, I see happy, I see joy, I see curl up, take a nap, I see have friends over and entertain. It's just beautiful. It's pretty, yet it is very casual. It's welcoming. It's warm. Love it. Nailed it. Now, okay. So remember earlier I was saying that we need a place for our eye to rest in design. I said that I'm happy that color is back in design, but we should not put all the colors in the crayon box in one room. We cannot do that. I'm happy that wallpaper is back. I'm using it quite a bit, but we need a place for the eye to rest. If you look through the doorway, well, in this space alone, you see 1, 2, 3, 4. I see 5, 6 different floral patterns. If I count the lamp and the chair and the settee and the fireplace around, and then some more florals on the coffee table with the plates on there, and then there's some more florals hanging over the fireplace, and then through the door is a whole nother floral. And I know what they were thinking. They were thinking that I'm picking up on the colors from this room and I'm going to go down the hallway with it with a whole nother wallpaper. You failed. You failed it. You failed it. The eye needs a place to rest. And if you're going to do one very bold floral or any other pattern, do that, do it successfully, and then give the eye a place to rest. Alrighty, let's move on to Ask Angela. And the question is it better to use a continuous color throughout the home, or should each space have its own personality? Well, that would depend on the layout of the space. So in certain spaces, it's good to have a continuous color, but you can have a continuous color and then still give each space its own personality. You can do that with rugs, giving it its own personality. You can do that with lighting, giving it its own personality. You can do that with, maybe you do like an accent wall that has a different color on it. Maybe you do an accent wall that has wallpaper on it. But there are ways to give personality to individual spaces, even if you have like a very open floor plan where you kind of need to do a color that is, maybe we call it a run color in the industry. But you can also give each space its own personality by doing a different rug. And one point, if you have a continuous color that goes throughout every space, you can then do wild rugs. You can like totally turn up the heat on rugs and lamps and lighting if you keep your run color, your paint color consistent throughout an open space.